and this is our second installment with personal trainer and coach Phil with Bodies by Phil. So we are going to go right into like the lightning round, quick question type thing. So do you want to start us off?
Yes. So what is your go-to workout?
My thing is strength training, hypertrophy training, which is just a fancy word for building muscle, and metabolic conditioning, which is another fancy word for, using things like kettlebells, sled pushes, rowers, high repetition work for endurance, those sorts of things. That's my jam for sure. I like lifting weights. That's my thing. And I've always really enjoyed that process.
What would you tell people when they're having a hard time staying consistent, when they get busy?
I think this is one of the biggest issues, right? I think people always want to start too big, too fast, too often. They have this idea in their head that like, if I don't work out every day, then I'm not going to get any results from this, or it's not going to happen fast enough. My thing is just do more than you did last week, or last month, and then try and do more than you did the previous month, and just make it slow and steady like that, and manageable and realistic for you. If you don't have a lot of time, start off with just 10 minutes of walking a couple days a week.
Right.
See how that goes. And if you can keep that up for 3 or 4 weeks, then see if you can add another day of walking.
I hear consistency is a lot more important.
The way the world is today, things just like don't happen fast enough. Our bodies adapt very slowly to fitness. It's a slow process that requires consistency. Start slow. Start with something that you can complete.
Yeah.
Instead of giving yourself this absurd training schedule that does not match your available time at all, at least right now, and be consistent with it and just slowly but surely add things onto that.
Yeah. So there's no quick fix to like doing it and getting results.
No,
when it comes to...
there's a million things out there that say quick fix, and all of them are bullshit. So because you can't change your own biology. Sorry,
right.
Like that's
weird. So you love all the influencers out there that know nothing about physiology that give a lot of advice. Is what you're saying?
And a lot of the stuff on social media is just people trying to sell you stuff to make money, and they don't really know what they're talking about.
Okay,
but they know how to get your attention.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I've been influenced by these influencers, or I'm doing my own thing, how do I know that my workouts are actually working and that I'm getting results?
You'll know if a workout is working. You'll feel it. If you're consistent and you keep it up and you're slowly but surely increasing and improving, then you'll notice it. You'll notice that you sleep a little better, or that your clothes fit a little better, or that you feel a little bit stronger, and like, oh, I don't feel as winded going up the stairs anymore. I notice that now. Like, people mentioned to me, at least that come to the gym, tend to notice these little lifestyle things that are a bit easier. But yes, you have to wait for them to come because it's not going to happen in a day or two. That's for sure.
You have to be careful what measurement you are using to say it's working.
Right.
Because if it's like a number on a scale, that's probably one of the worst assessments of whether or not your workouts are
or
working.
it could be the only one that you're looking at. I'm only looking at the scale, whereas you might be having a lot of improvements happening, but you're kind of like tunnel visioned into this number on the scale that you're not noticing all these other things that are happening. Like you might have more energy, or be sleeping better, or be in a better mood in general.
Or body comp could be changing, and that scale won't budge, or even can sometimes go up.
People's body compositions can change without their weight changing at all.
Yeah.
That happens to many people. Just try not to zero in on one thing. And the other thing that happens is if you do zero in on one thing and one thing only, that just almost, I feel like that just breeds impatience, because you're just like, when is that going to change? When is that going to change? Oh my God, it's not changing. And you're just not noticing all the other great stuff that is happening from what you're doing.
What we notice in therapy is that sometimes if people are so focused on the goal, they're looking at the goal and all they're thinking is, I'm not there yet. They're going to be making changes, doing good things, all of that. But if they're focused on, I'm not there yet, they actually feel unmotivated and stop doing the things that are actually moving them towards the goal. Yep. So I'm always like, and I think fitness would be the same thing, where it's like, I want you to look at where you were yesterday and compare yourself to yesterday, not some random goal in the future that we don't even know if that's actually a good goal for you or not.
And I would argue that makes you dislike the process as well. You're not going to
Right.
enjoy the process of getting there if all you're focusing on is the end goal. You're just going to be like, oh, I have to do this again.
Yeah, it's more
Right.
I'm not even
Enjoy
there.
the-
Like
yeah.
enjoying the process. I always tell people if there's not some semblance of enjoyment from exercise that you're doing, there's no lasting relationship there. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
You know, if you hate your workouts, who's going to keep doing that?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to find a way to enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, is why you start with something that you kind of enjoy.
Yeah.
So if you like being outdoors, then
Do your
start
workouts
there.
out there.
You know, start
Yeah.
walking outside. Start, if you're able to run, or do like run walks or something, or do an outdoor body weight workout or whatever, like then do that, because at least you enjoy being outdoors, right?
Right.
You know, you enjoy that.
Amazing.
How do we lose fat without
Muscle.
Without losing muscle?
Without losing
Yeah.
muscle.
How do we lose fat without losing muscle? That's a good question. So I'm going to simplify things a little bit just for the sake of answering this question. When we lose weight, there's kind of two options. We can lose fat or we can lose muscle. Right? Now, I make the assumption that people would rather lose fat than muscle. And I guess what that comes down to, a lot of it comes down to nutrition and protein intake. Shocking to hear that word protein. It's huge right now. But typically, the way our body works, if our protein intake is quite high, when we lose weight, we're going to lose majority body fat. If our protein intake is extremely low, then we're going to lose muscle mass.
Not know that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not as cut and dry as that. I
Okay.
mean, when we lose weight, we're always losing kind of both, but your body can prioritize one or the other. And we can tell it to
And
do that
protein intake.
by adjusting our diets and making sure our protein intake is high. A lot of people who come into the gym, if we're doing sort of nutrition programming for them and everything, there's some people who come in and we're sometimes doubling, even maybe tripling their protein intake because it's real low.
Okay.
I think there's just a lot of misconception. A lot of people think like, oh yeah, I eat high protein. And then we look at things and it's like, you're actually not. I mean, you think you are, but you're not. So that's probably the easiest thing to make sure that's happening. The only other thing I'll say is make sure you're doing weightlifting. Make sure you are training your muscles.
Because if you ingest protein, but then don't work out the muscle, then you could still lose muscle.
Those two go together really nicely.
Okay.
They're like a package deal, you know, like high protein and some resistance training goes a long way in losing body fat. Those two together are huge.
And the more muscle you have, right, the more efficient it is at burning fat. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's fair to say the more muscle mass you have on your body, and just to clarify, when I say muscle mass, I'm talking about regular people, not like
Right.
bodybuilder
Right.
muscle
Bodybuilder.
mass. If you just have a little bit more muscle on your frame, it boosts your basal metabolic rate, which is basically just how many calories per day or per hour or whatever that your body burns just existing.
Yeah.
Okay. And if we have more muscle mass on our bodies become much more efficient machines and they require more energy. Muscle requires energy. So just having muscle on your body means you burn more calories.
Okay.
Period.
Good incentive.
Yep.
Get those
to
weightlifting
put some muscle
going.
on.
That's it. There was I don't think this is quite as prevalent anymore, but it used to be, like, oh, you want to lose weight, you got to do tons of cardio. That's it. You just got to burn those calories, right? And just get on the treadmill for hours and hours and burn those calories off. And that's not wrong, but it's better to do cardio, but also do your strength training for that exact reason. You want to get some muscle mass on your frame too. And if you can do both of those things
Yeah.
and your protein intake is high, then
You
You're
got
good.
it.
That's good to know.
Now, you said one of the biggest mistakes that people make is going too hard too fast, that like when they kind of start out. What would you say is the next biggest mistake or biggest myth?
maybe the time it takes to get results, because there is so much misinformation out there, especially with social media. They're
Like Beachbody
There's-
in 6 weeks.
or like, I'll still to this day, I don't know, like sometimes you'll see magazine covers and it's really a shame that it's very much targeted toward women, right? And it's kind of like ridiculous claims like lose 20 pounds in 3 days or something. And it's absurd claims like that. That
Yeah.
is completely ridiculous and like impossible. But no wonder people have conceptions about how long it takes to adapt to exercise and how long it takes to get results, because there's all this bullshit that it says on magazine covers or on social media.
Yeah.
That stuff is rampant everywhere. Or take this mystery supplement and you'll lose weight. Don't do that.
Unless it's protein.
Like if you think you can hack the system and do this without any sort of grit or hard work or sweat, you are wrong.
Right.
Or you're doing it in a way that is in the end not beneficial to you. Like it's unhealthy what you're doing. The real way to get results is you got to work hard for it. That's it. There's no getting away from it.
And so they've put in the work, they're working out, but then they've reached a plateau. What happens then? How do we break through those moments?
How do we break through plateaus? Having variation in your training. For example, I change up my program every 4 weeks. So every 4 or 5 weeks, and it might not be a big change. I might only change a few things about what I'm doing.
But
So
I realized it didn't need to be a total makeover. It could just be a partial makeover.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, you might just need to change a few things. So, for example, for 4 weeks, if I'm working out 3 days a week, I'll do those 3 days every week, the same workout and for 4 weeks. And then after 4 weeks, I'll change things up a bit. I might change it all together, or I might just tweak a couple of things. I'll change the rep ranges, or I'll change this exercise variation to something else. Just make a few changes, and that it kind of just switches things up for your body enough to like keep those adaptations coming. I think a big mistake people make is they find a workout routine that works for them and then keep doing that for like months or years or whatever. And it's kind of like, you got to tweak things as you go.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to break through plateaus.
Amazing. And you've talked about protein already as an important supplement, like supplement your diet with protein. But is there any other supplements that you would say if you're working out you should take?
This is something I talk about with people who start at Bodies by Phil quite a bit. I always say supplements are great. They're a good tool, People make uninformed decisions when selecting supplements, but it's not their fault. It's an incredibly confusing industry. These things have ridiculous names and they're these random powders. You've got some dude at Popeyes saying this will help you grow muscle. And you're like, hell yeah, give me that.
Right. You don't even have to work out.
When it might not do that whatsoever. The supplement industry is also poorly regulated. So supplements can make claims that they do something even though they don't do that whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's a hot topic and controversial. As far as supplements, it depends who we're talking about. If we're talking about just a regular person who's maybe starting to get into working out, doing some strength training, that sort of thing, there's not a whole lot of supplements that are really of any use to you other than a couple. If you want a list, the only ones that I ever recommend to people coming to Bodies by Phil is a whey protein isolate. So something that allows you to boost your protein intake by quite a bit at a very low caloric cost.
Okay.
That's what protein powder's purpose really is. Creatine monohydrate is one other supplement that probably a lot of people have heard of at this point. It's a big buzzword right now, but really anyone who starts at Bodies by Phil, those are the only two that I recommend. And everything else is kind of like, you don't really need that stuff.
And one of the sort of, to dig into that a little bit, is that there has been a misconception that it's just for men, right? But it's actually really important
or just for
bodybuilder, if you really want to get jacked kind of thing.
Yep.
Versus...
Yes. And it is a common misconception, but I feel like it's starting to change direction, which is a good thing. In my opinion, anyone who lifts weights should be taking creatine. There's even new studies with creatine now where arguably everybody on the planet should be taking creatine.
You hear it's really good for your brain, right?
Yeah, they're doing a lot of studies now of how it affects cognitive function, and they're doing a lot of tests. I think they're doing a lot of research right now on Alzheimer's patients and how they react to it's quite large doses of creatine and affecting, memory, cognitive function, stuff like that. And apparently there's other studies that are saying it improves skin health and anyway, so, they're all this stuff that they're doing on, but it's been around for about 60 years.
Yeah.
maybe even longer. And it's been researched thousands of times. It's one of those supplements that does what it says it does. It has one ingredient.
So if people are really looking for like that
The one
magic pill,
thing.
there actually seems like there is a magic substance that can do a lot of good things for you.
It's not going to solve all your fitness problems, but if you
won't give you muscle.
if you lift weights and you're getting into working out, it's a great tool in your toolbox for sure.
Amazing.
That's amazing. That's good to know. So for women, how do we get to a place where we can tone up and burn fat, lose weight without it affecting our hormones? Because we have things to think about, like when it comes to perimenopause or our cortisol levels or thyroids or all the different factors at play. And so what does that strategy look like for females different than perhaps males?
I think mostly there is the intensity level and what you're starting out with and how hard you're starting out and how many things you're changing at once. This is why it's good to like gradually kind of get into fitness, nutrition, that sort of thing, one thing at a time. I think your hormones are very much affected by drastic changes, right? Especially if you never paid attention to your nutrition once in your life. And then the next day you decide to eat keto. So you're basically not going to eat carbs anymore. That's a huge change, a huge shift that your body is not ready for, is probably going to be very confused about, and it's going to just throw a lot of stuff
Unpleasant side effects.
Yeah, there's going to be some unpleasant side effects, not just hormonally, for sure. But it's kind of like just do small things, make small changes, and keep a realistic intensity level to your workouts at first. And just monitor things and see how it goes. You know, like you got to kind of listen to your body when you make changes to what you're doing too. A lot of people don't think about that part. Like, how is my body or my brain or my hormones going to react to what I'm doing? Again, people focus on the end goal, which is just like, well, I'm just getting here. That's why I'm doing this. And I'm not going to pay attention to anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
So very much what works for you. Do what works for you. Pay attention to how it feels.
If you try different ways of working out, like maybe you do spin or you run or you lift weights, you play pickleball, and you'll find something that you'll realize like, oh, okay, my body likes this
Right.
when I do this. If you do it often enough and you try different things, for me, it's landed where I really like lifting weights and doing conditioning work. I never really got into Olympic lifting, although I've tested the waters there. I've tested the waters with running. I used to do triathlons and run 10Ks and stuff like that. But eventually I decided, I don't think that's my thing.
Right.
Like, I'm not really like a cardio junkie, or running races isn't my thing. And the only way I figured this out for myself was just by trying stuff and just seeing what I liked and how my body reacted to things.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here. We have had a blast talking to you.
This has been fun.
Thank
I feel
you.
like we've only scratched the surface of your knowledge.
We'll have to have you back for a part 2.
Definitely. But we definitely want also our listeners to know, if they want to get started with Bodies by Phil, how do they do that?
Well, the best way to start at Bodies by Phil is we have kind of an introductory program for new folks called our 6-week Kickstarter Challenge. I tell people this is the best way to get started at Bodies by Phil, or maybe in fitness, if I can toot my own horn. But so what it is basically is we get people in, and for 6 weeks, they do 3 workouts a week with us. They get assigned an accountability and nutrition coach. So you have a coach throughout the entire 6 weeks who you speak to almost on a daily basis. You get provided a customized meal plan that you get coached through with your coach. There's tons of social accountability. So you kind of interact with other people doing the 6-week challenge at the same time, so you can kind of motivate each other. There's a lot of check-ins, and there's a lot of goal setting and goal building. And usually by the end of the 6 weeks, people feel like they've gotten a good kick in the ass in the right direction and built good habits. And what we try and do is when people finish their 6 weeks, we sit down with them and we build them a realistic long-term plan. And that's kind of mainly, at least in my mind, the big goal there is like, we need to find something realistic and sustainable for you. And if you do these 6 weeks and you kind of follow it as we've laid it out, then we're going to be able to do that. We're going to find something realistic by the end of it.
Amazing.
And that's the best way for people to get started. And it's been it's been such a joy doing this challenge. Coaching people through this challenge is so fun and rewarding. Some people have some amazing stuff. Like without, tooting my own horn, we're changing people's lives.
Absolutely.
Some people come out of it and they're just like, oh my God, this is changing my life.
So rewarding.
And that's fun. It's fun to get people to that point.
Amazing.
And so how can folks find you? What's the best way for them to reach out
so
to you?
a few ways. I mean, our website is bodiesbyphil.com. So you can just go there. We're on Instagram. That's the biggest part of our social media platform, I guess. And we're bodiesbyphil613. You can find us there. And there's tons of ways to contact us through both of those things.
Amazing.
There you go.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.